Welcome to episode 16 of It's About Data, the podcast about data, analytics, AI, and whatever else we feel like talking about. Your hosts are Tony Baer of DB Insights and Matt Housley of Halfpipe Systems. This week, we're joined by guests Mehul Shah and Kambiz Aghili to discuss Oracle Database at AWS. All right, Tony, welcome for another episode, and also welcome Kambiz and Mehul. We are excited to be kind of in an early conversation about Oracle Database at AWS. And Tony, you're in a slightly different location today. I'll let you talk about that and dive a little further into the topic before we have nice interviews with our guests here today.
I've dislocated not my shoulder or elbow, but my studio, which is that we're here in the New York area, in New Jersey specifically, and we got the remnants of Tropical Storm Chantal last night. It did knock out power, but it knocked out internet. So the result is I'm in exile in my local public library here in Maplewood, New Jersey. So one, I'm going to apologize a little bit for the lo-fi setup. I don't have my full studio here. But on the other hand, what you're looking here is at a state-of-the-art facility that reopened just this past July 4th weekend after about 2 or 3 years. We're really in the books and here in Maplewood, and this is a state-of-the-art library. There are just state-of-the-art facilities. There are performance facilities. The place is roughly doubled in size. And in back is one of the cool new features, because we really opened out into the public park behind us, which is a park that was originally designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. That's the Olmsted, the same Olmsted that designed Central Park in New York. And it's just one of the many features. So you're going to be seeing people milling in the background here. We're in just this amazing facility here in New Jersey. But anyway, so I would love to basically at this point introduce basically our guests, here who are joining us on this occasion, which is basically the occasion of Oracle Database at AWS going live. This is all about multi-cloud. We'd like to introduce initially Mehul Shah, and you are Director of RDS Databases at AWS. Mehul, can you tell us a little bit about your role there and why we're having this discussion?
Yeah, I've been in Amazon for over 10 years. In my current role, I'm responsible for commercial databases on AWS. So this includes RDS for SQL Server, Oracle, DB2, and also our partnership with Oracle Database AWS offering.
And we also have here Kambiz Aghili. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You're the Vice President of Multi-Cloud at Oracle. Kambiz, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role there?
Sure, and thank you, Tony. Yeah, I'm Kambiz Aghili. I'm Vice President of Product Management at OCI, and super excited to be here specifically on our announcement of Oracle Database at AWS, which is they're really our best to date multi-cloud offering, and something we're proud of.
Okay, and multi-cloud is really the whole theme of this. And really what we're going to be looking at is, there's so many things that we could talk about here, but I think what we're really going to focus on is what this really means for the customer. So I think the way we want to start is just kind of the basic what question, which is, what is this new partnership between Oracle and AWS? And what are your plans for it? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. So from AWS, really, so a lot of our customers have used Oracle. A lot of our customers have data that's in their Oracle applications, and they've been looking for ways in which they can combine the data that's inside Oracle applications with data that sits in other applications they run on AWS and on AWS services. And they want to use that data for advanced machine learning applications, analytics applications, AI applications going forward. And so we have been just working with Oracle and saying, how could we make that happen? So that's really the intent behind how this partnership started and what we've been looking to go do.
If you look at kind of cloud migrations to date, they have been really behind, right? Based on latest analyst data, you look at 81% mission critical workloads are still on premises. Customers arrived at having multiple deployments of Oracle technology of love. Like if you look at 8 or 9 out of 10 in any vertical, they use Oracle database technology one way or another. They ended up being in different cloud environments. They ended up being disconnected from one another. So Oracle Database at AWS for the customers that love AWS technology, they love database technology, that brings them together in a native integrated framework where Oracle, same OCI hardware software stack is literally operating and running from an AWS data center, AWS availability zone, AWS region, that makes the service interoperability, makes the application modernization, makes the data architecture modernization really a reality for customers that really were stuck behind, two companies not having these native integrated service availability available to them yet.
Right. So where do you both hope to go with this? And both take it from there, and then Kambiz.
Yeah, look, I think the way to think about it is that we see customers who are using Oracle applications. They want Oracle technology. They like what they see in Oracle technology. And we also see customers who are running large applications on AWS. So the thing is, how can we allow customers to get the best of both? Right? How can we allow customers to get what they want to use and love from Oracle, along with things that they want to use and love from AWS? And that's how we see this partnership going forward. In really meeting customers where they are, like, this is what customers want, and how do we meet them?
So going back to kind of Oracle Database Services as an example, back in what Mehul just indicated, customers who are using Oracle Database services and surrounding services and technology, they want to be able to manage their data estates. They want to be able to store the data, build on it, monetize it, learn from it, and act on it in ways that gives them the access to these capabilities across any cloud, right? And so from us giving that service integration, offering that service integration natively to the customers allows them to utilize best of the both worlds and develop new applications or modernize their existing footprint and existing applications. So where I see go from here, based on the two regions that you just saw that we announced this morning with US East and US West and two AZs within which, we're giving customers the ability to do high availability within region and disaster recovery across the regions. We're going to be expanding our regions to 20 more in the coming 12 to 18 months. And we're going to be expanding our services beyond just what we cover. And as we learn from customers as to what else they want to see. They want a better way to have data governance and unified security, unification of access controls, unifications of federations or SSO. So where we see that going, to continue to lean into the customer use cases and what else they want to be simplified as they move to the cloud, as they modernize or utilize the AI, we're going to keep thinking very self-critically as to what else to be developed on behalf of the customers and making them easier to onboard to the cloud.
Thank you, Kambiz. I'd like to add to that, Tony. So since we announced the preview way back in December, we saw a lot of interest from customers in other parts of the world. And there are many customers that have regulatory requirements that require them to keep their data in country, within the region, within the sovereign region. And so they would like to see this offering available in their regions, in their countries, so that they can meet the requirements and take benefit of what we have to offer combined between AWS and Oracle. So both we are working very closely with Oracle's team and Kambiz and his team to really see how we can bring this to customers all over the world.
Yeah, data locality is becoming an increasingly important issue.
Yeah, and if you look at it as a whole, we continue to remain on that core mission. That when I talk to customers, they continue to ask for an integrated, central, intelligent cloud data management across the different cloud providers. They want to meet their compliance and regulatory requirements easily. They want the same performance and SLAs regardless of how they are operating, and in this case, integrated. For instance, if they were running on premises, they wanted to have the same compliance and SLA and regulatory guardrails as they did on premises being met here very easily for them. They want the continued cost optimizations, automations, and the commercial flexibility and interoperability of the services. So from a commercial flexibility, we have unified billing available to the customers. Customers can go to the AWS marketplace and start having access as a native service to Oracle Database at AWS, the ability for joint support, the ability to have license mobility from whatever they were doing on premises, BYOL, or bring their EULA over to Oracle Database at AWS, benefit from rack and build new AI applications. These are all the things that we started this together, and nothing has changed where we continue to deliver that premise.
Let me throw another question out there. Why did OCI and AWS decide to work together like this? I know in the past, sometimes you've been more competitive than collaborative. Obviously, we've talked a lot about how this benefits customers, but what was it that kind of pushed this partnership together?
Ever since 2008, customers have been running their Oracle software on AWS on the cloud. So there has been precedence like for customers being able to go do that. And many large enterprises, including some of the most security sensitive customers in the world, use and run Oracle software on AWS. What we did not have until now was a way for them to run Oracle Exadata workloads, and their customers then run mission critical applications on Exadata, including rack hardware. And we did not have an equivalent way for them to easily move and run those applications on the AWS cloud. And this was becoming a problem because, as you know, applications are interconnected, right? So I use something for application one. Over time, application two depends on application one, application three depends on application two. And so now enterprises have this large estate of things that they can't modernize. They can't easily innovate as they can do in some of the cloud applications. And this was becoming a bottleneck for many customers. So really, that is what drove us into like, hey, we need to help customers. We need to help these customers and figure out a way and partner with Oracle and see how we can enable these customers to really innovate. And that's what drove it for us.
Yeah. And other things I could add to that, I think we love problem solving. We love identifying how else we can lean in and be customer obsessed. If you look at it, kind of 80% of organizations operate multiple cloud environments. They arrived at this point by, legacy line of business, cloud decisions. There were M&As that happened and bring these customers together, these companies together under one arm where they, due to the niche requirements, the specific application requirements, they were in one cloud. Even though, for instance, they were utilizing Oracle technology, but they were in this cloud or that cloud, and they were not really connected. So these strategies were not deliberate. What it meant to the customer, it really complicated the management of these services, the governance, the operational complexity, and the cost management or diverse skills that they needed to maintain, and that high latency connectivity between these different clouds across interconnect and whatnot. So this is how the multi-cloud came into play, in that how can we lean in together? How can we reduce the risk associated with in and around and otherwise vendor concentration or disjoint commercial negotiation or lack of interoperability between these services completely taken away? So the multi-cloud came to solve all of these problems on behalf of the customer, and the sentiment that you've seen, for instance, with some of the top customers we had through the private review that were mentioned in the press release, and many more that are behind that listed names, were really a sentiment to how customers are excited about how we are solving these problems together on their behalf.
Right. And that's kind of interesting. It sort of leads into a question I'd like to ask both of you, which is that, and you both, basically, Mehul, you basically noted that there are a lot of existing Oracle customers who are already running AWS. This is actually what I want to ask about right now, is that what does this mean for them, for those who are either basically using the Amazon RDS service for Oracle, or for those who, probably the more obvious one is for those who are self-managing. But both of you, give us your thoughts in terms of what it means for those Oracle customers who are already on AWS.
Yeah, Tony. So many Oracle customers that are already on AWS, they still have a lot of estate running on premises, particularly the Exadata estate that they just cannot migrate. And for these customers, they now have an easy, simple way to migrate to a like-for-like environment. And they can do this without any radical changes. They get the full features that Oracle has to offer. They get full compatibility that Oracle has to offer. They get full support from Oracle and AWS as they run them. And so they don't have to go rebuild applications and change things when they want to move those applications to AWS. More so, they can now easily build new applications because we have a low latency connection between their applications running on AWS and their Oracle hardware and their databases now, with Oracle Database AWS, they can now build new applications that take advantage of this low latency connection and innovate faster than what they could do before. So that's what it really means for them.
I totally agree. I think one of the reasons, if you look at the top analyst firms that reported and continue reporting that 80% of the mission critical enterprise workloads is still on premises, is that, as Mehul indicated, we are still at that early stage of that very highly kind of mission critical workloads to be moving to the cloud. And Oracle Database at AWS simply complements what customers have been doing anywhere else, and also gives them that kind of unified kind of data governance. It gives them that across the two cloud providers, as well as taking advantage of networking, marketplace, security, storage, and backup options and solutions for them that are integrated with one another, and gives them more choice as to how they think about moving to the cloud. But also, as Mehul indicated, now with the low latency, with the dedicated and redundant links that we have between the two, the co-locations of the database and application tier next to one another from the same region gives customers the ability to think through what's in the future and not have to think about these latencies in ways that they couldn't solve for. And as we launch into new regions, we are learning also more how do we make these kind of metrics even run better? How do we launch into these regions faster? How do we optimize the latency even further? So the future is super bright, but in terms of how do we complement each other, we just couldn't be more true based on what Mehul indicated as well.
I'm just going to quickly follow up with that. Do either of you or both of you have migration, basically any type of migration plans, or basically plans that programs for customers who exist on, let's say, for instance, on RDS that would migrate to Oracle Database on AWS? Are there any firm plans in place to offer kind of like a migration plan, program or something like that?
We support customers in what they want to go do. So I think in terms of how customers can migrate into Oracle Database AWS, we have lots of tooling in place for the customers to go do that. They want to go do that. So there is no restrictions really for customers to be able to decide what works best for them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, let's see. I want to follow on into something you were saying, Kambiz, which is about so many of your customers and so many of AWS's customers, frankly, are multi-cloud already, either through M&A or just through different products that ran across different clouds that were developed over time. In general, what does multi-cloud mean for customers, and how should customers be thinking about multi-cloud architectures that involve OCI and AWS?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about not just the multi-cloud, but if you look at the customers' modernized kind of fleet or modernized IT infrastructure, it all starts with a strong data foundation. And so from our perspective, multi-cloud means service interoperability, means native integration between different services that we have around. So if customers want to utilize Oracle databases and database services, and they want to use that analytics service from AWS along that. So having the zero ETL native integration, having these service interoperability, it really gives customers a very an open door into the future, as well as from our end, by kind of making that governance of the networking and security and storage and the backup and observability really unified in ways, and giving customers choice makes it easier for them to develop new applications, to modernize existing applications, build new utilizing generative AI. So a customer is interested to use AWS Bedrock or SageMaker. These are the things that could never be done before. So from a multi-cloud, what it does simply is just like making it easy for customers to grow their existing workloads, drive new insights, build better service integration, build applications that utilize the entire estate of services across the two cloud, across two cloud service providers, to build new things. And we are there to completely to continuously simplify that process for them. So it starts at that strong data foundation that we bring together and the services surrounding it that we bring together natively integrated.
And making it easy for customers has been a priority for both our teams as we work through this. So since we launched the preview, the zero ETL was intended to say, how do I make the data land in my analytics services without having customers do work like build pipelines and ETL jobs, take that complexity completely away from them. Customers, for example, use CloudFormation to set up their environments. How do I set up a development environment very quickly? How do I set up a test environment very quickly? How do I build templates around that? That integration is already in place, so we can do it just like you would build an application on AWS. You can set up your databases in the same way and set up a test environment for databases the same way. Customers use CloudWatch for monitoring, right? So they use CloudWatch for monitoring their applications. So we seamlessly make sure that database monitoring events go seamlessly into CloudWatch. So now they have one place to do their monitoring of their applications. They don't have to do something here, something here. It's consistent. Developers learn one set of tools, one set of programming concepts.
Yeah.
Same for even event bridge integration. So customers can build applications where if customers want to build workflows, let's say somebody added some tables to a database, deleted some tables in a database. How do I quickly build a workflow around that to say when that happens, please trigger this workflow, write a Lambda function that does X, Y, and Z. They can build it simply because the integrations are built in now.
Sounds good. Anyway, there's so much more that we could really plumb here because I think, just from what I've seen, just from talking with my clients, is that multi-cloud. I mean, well, if you think about it, mid to large-sized enterprises have always had one of everything. So why wouldn't they have one of every cloud? And I think it's really amazing to see that finally that we're seeing a lot of platform players, including those that have been pretty energetic rivals in the not so recent past, really looking to working to get together, to looking towards delivering. Essentially, what we're looking at is like really simplifying the cloud experience and taking the cloud experience in terms of the way the customer wants, whether it be through like controlling an Oracle database in the AWS console or through the OCI console. It's their choice. Anyway, there's so much more we could talk about today. Mehul and Kambiz, I really appreciate your joining myself and Matt. And at this point, I think we're just going to have to reconvene this discussion as we start to learn more in the future. I think there's a lot we're going to be learning in the next few months. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.